Hello, Linda's audience. Quang's mom and Linda have been searching all day, exhausted, but still determined to find where he is. They're just one step away now. Will they make it in time or miss their last chance? The clock is ticking. But what about Quang? Is he ready to wait? Or will he make a sudden decision that changes everything? What will happen when the three of them finally meet after all these days apart? This is the intense moment you can't miss. Stay tuned for this unexpected journey. Hit like and subscribe so you won't miss the dramatic moments coming next. Right now, Quang is eager to return to Linda and his mother. After the long days that passed with Quang's constant care, his heart is full of gratitude. She had looked after him, worried for him when he couldn't take care of himself, and Quang knew that without her, he might not have made it through the challenges he just faced. Still, his love and longing for his family made it impossible for him to stay any longer. Since early morning, Quang had been planning a big surprise. He decided not to let Linda and his mother wait any longer. He would go see them today and create a moment they'd never forget. He wanted to return on his own to prove that no matter how tough things got, he could still stand strong and independent. But he didn't forget one important thing, thanking Quang for everything she had done for him. He wanted to show his deep gratitude and promised he'd come back to repay her kindness. Even so, Quang worried about his condition. She knew his leg wasn't fully healed and feared he might put himself at risk by leaving too soon. She suggested he stay a few more days to rest, but Quang couldn't hold back his impatience. He wanted to see Linda and his mother to share with them everything he had just been through. His family's love was calling him home, and he couldn't delay any longer. With that determination, Quang changed into clean clothes, ready for the trip back. Quang watched him, knowing that no matter how much she worried, she couldn't stop his decision. All she could do was walk with him part of the way, see him off, and share a few last conversations. She felt happy just having Quang by her side. Even if only for a short time, it was enough for her to feel the bond, the care, and the friendship between them. When they reached the main road near the bus station, Quang handed him some money for the ticket. Quang hesitated, not wanting to take it, but she insisted, her eyes full of worry. "Please take it. Let me help you just a little. Linda and your mother must be so worried already." Quang wanted to refuse, but when he looked into her sincere eyes, he accepted it. "Thank you. I'll come back, I promise," he said gratefully. "Good luck," Quang replied, her voice a little choked. Quang stopped a nearby motorbike taxi to take him out to the highway where he could catch a bus home. Quang stood there, her eyes full of emotions as she watched him. Quang turned back one last time before getting on. He held her hand and said, "Thank you so much. I'll be back. See you again." Quang waved goodbye, feeling like a part of her was leaving. Quang looked back one more time, trying to keep her in sight. Both of them knew this was more than just a goodbye. It was a promise of gratitude and friendship they had built during this time together. As Quang rode off, his heart was mixed with emotions. He felt happy and at peace, knowing he'd soon be reunited with Linda and his mother. But he couldn't help thinking about Quang, the one who had stood by him during his hardest days. He believed that one day he would return to repay her kindness. Meanwhile, Quang stood there for a while, her eyes sad as she watched him fade into the distance. But inside, she carried a small sense of joy. She knew their friendship would never fade, no matter where life took them. Smiling to herself, she whispered in her heart that this was a beautiful moment and one she would keep forever. At that moment, on another road, Linda and Quang's mother were out looking for him. They had planned ahead to bring him home together. What they didn't know was that Quang had already decided to make his own way back without their help. His mom and Linda kept searching, unaware that he was already on the bus almost home. That late afternoon, the sun was starting to fade, casting long shadows across the road as the trees rustled in the breeze. Walking side by side, Linda and Quang's mother scanned the street, hoping to catch a glimpse of him. They had agreed earlier today they would be the ones to bring Quang home, to show him he wasn't alone, that his family and the woman he loved were always there watching over him. But they didn't realize Quang had already made a different choice. He didn't want to trouble his mom or Linda any further. In his mind, asking them to come pick him up would only add to the burdens they already carried. So he quietly boarded the last bus of the day and headed home. Just then, his mother's phone rang. She quickly pulled it out of her bag and answered. A familiar voice came through, filled with joy, but also a hint of worry. "Mom, I'm home," Quang said. On the other end, his mom let out a sigh of relief. Her voice shook slightly, carrying both love and reproach. "You're home. Why didn't you call me earlier? Linda and I are on our way to get you. Why didn't you wait for us?" Sitting beside her, Linda leaned closer to hear her eyes lighting up with both surprise and happiness. It had been so long since she'd heard Quang's voice, directly warm, real, and so close. Quang hesitated for a moment, then spoke as if to calm them both. "I thought you and Linda didn't need to go through the trouble. I already got on the bus. I can make it home on my own. Please don't worry. I don't want you two to go through any more trouble because of me." His mother paused for a few seconds. Relief washed over her, knowing her son was safe. But at the same time, she felt a pang of disappointment. She wouldn't be the one to welcome him first, after all those long days apart. Softly, almost to reassure herself, she asked, "So you're really okay? Now nothing's wrong, right?" "Yes, Mom. I'm really fine, I promise. Don't worry. Please just go home and rest. I'll be there soon." Linda looked at Quang's mom, and they both nodded quietly. They didn't argue, but deep down, neither could shake off the worry. A mother's concern and a young woman's love aren't so easily quieted by a few comforting words. When the call ended, Quang put down his phone and stared silently out the bus window. He felt like a heavy weight had just been lifted. At least his mom and Linda weren't frantically searching anymore. But at the same time, an emptiness stirred inside him. He was on his way home, yet still hadn't stepped through the door. The joy of reunion felt so close, but somehow just out of reach. On the other side, Quang's mom and Linda slowly turned the old motorbike around. Linda sat behind her hands, gripping the edge of her mother's coat eyes, staring into the distance. She stayed quiet, letting the wind blow through her hair, her heart full of anticipation. For her, as long as Quang came back safely, everything else could be forgiven. Still deep inside, she couldn't help but feel a pang of regret not being the one to stand in front of him and welcome him back in that very first moment. Quang's mother, with each heavy press on the gas, carried her own worries. She told herself that as long as her son was healthy, that was enough. But in her heart, she still longed to hold Quang in her arms right away to make up for all the months of waiting. When they got back home, after hearing from Quang, his mom felt relieved, knowing he was on his way. But Linda remained uneasy. The two quickly went inside, but his absence left the house heavy with silence. A sense of unease grew inside Linda. She turned to Quang's mom and asked, "Do you think something happened to him?" His mother sighed before answering, "I don't know, but I believe Quang can take care of himself. He'll come back." Even so, those words didn't ease Linda's worry. She felt like something was unfinished, that their reunion wasn't happening the way it was supposed to. Time seemed to stand still. Neither of them could do anything but wait. And in that waiting, unspoken questions echoed in their hearts. Did Quang run into trouble on the way? Would he really return like he promised? And would they be able to hold on until he walked back through that door? Quang still hadn't come home, and all his mom and Linda could do now was wait.